Hey everyone, Brad the Mechanic here. Today we're going to be working on, it's not a specific vehicle, but we are going to be working on cleaning your headlights. Okay, so you see how these are kind of yellowed. You can see the clear, what it's supposed to look like. This car is not terribly bad, and these are actually some of the harder lights to do because they have the icebreakers on them. So when you're sanding and stuff, those get in the way, but they're not terrible, okay? So what we're going to do is today is we're going to take this headlight and turn it into that. Okay, that's the old headlight. That's not a new headlight. I actually polish the headlights. So a lot of people show how to do this, and what they do is they sand it down a little bit with like some 600 or 800, and then they clear coat it. Well, that way doesn't work very well, and it doesn't last very long, and it doesn't give you as clear as results as this. So today I'm going to show you guys how we clean these off and make them look brand new, and we don't have to worry about painting or anything like that. We don't even have to worry about taking them off the car if you don't want to. So let's get started. First things first, we're going to get spray bottle of water, and I start off with 800 grit or 600 grit paper, sandpaper. Right here. I got 600, right? I start with that, okay? You start with this, and what this does is this knocks down all the yellow stuff that's on there, right? 600. Then I move to 1,000, and we're wet sanding this all. So we're wet sanding, we're spraying it down, getting it wet. Then I go to 1,000, and then I go to 2,000, okay? So once I get to 2,000, I use an extra cut compound, which you can buy a smaller jug of this, but you're going to want the extra cut rubbing compound, okay? Because the extra cut is kind of like a slightly abrasive toothpaste, right? And then there's the finishing cut, which is, it's like the fine last thing we do on the headlight before finishing. So let's get started. All right, so now we're going to come to the headlight. I'm going to spray it down with water a little bit. I get my paper wet. And then you come through, you start sanding it, right? You're going to want to keep this wet, so you can spray it as many times as you want. Now, the more you sand this, you'll see the yellow starting to come off. See that? We're going to get it wet again. You can see it starting to come off already. That's just yellowing from the sun and rain and all that stuff doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep going at this until I get this covered, probably a good 5 minutes of sanding. Then we're going to move to the 1,000 grit. And these little icebreakers, you're going to want to make sure you get around them nice, because if you don't, when you're finished, you'll see foggy spots around here if you don't get it sanded well enough. Make sure you get up in the corners here, because anywhere that you don't sand well with all the different types of sandpaper, you'll see a foggy spot. So it's important to get all the nooks and crannies that you can. Obviously you can't get in here if the headlight's on and stuff, but that doesn't matter. We're just going to make sure we get this whole lens cleaned up. And you can see the paste coming off of there, the white stuff, the yellowing stuff is all coming off of there. So let's get her off. And when you're sanding, you don't have to just keep going like this. I like to change it up, go circles, you know, straight where I have to, but I'll do circles. It's usually the last thing I do a bunch of circles. Make sure we're getting around these edges here. And you can see already that the light is becoming way less yellow, and that's good. That's what we're doing. We're trying to get this off now. So we're trying to sand it all off, and then we're going to polish it with the finer and finer sandpapers and whatnot. You can see all that stuff just coming right off, and it's already looking a lot less yellow. So the key is getting all these different sandpapers and doing it in levels so that it's polished. Instead of having to coat it with clear coat, you're actually polishing the light and bringing it back to brand new again. Now we have the 1,000 grit. We're just going to go over and do the same thing that we did before. You can kind of feel when it gets smoother and smoother, like a baby's butt. Or a liberal's brain. Ultra smooth. So we're going to get this, we got the 1000, we're going to move to 2000, and then it's time for the cut compound. So before we come and use the cut compound, the finishing compound here, we're going to dry off the light as good as we can. And you'll see it'll get a little foggy, but that's okay because we're about to polish these suckers. So we're going to get this wiped off, and now we're going to move to the extra cut compound first. Now I have a power buffer, but you can do this by hand easily. Just put it on a dry rag, put some of this on there, and we're going to move it in circles. I'll show you. If you're going to buff this by hand, you can start out. I always start out and kind of cover it so that I know I'm getting good coverage. This actually, a little dollop will do you. This is like an M&M sized dollop. And this is the extra cut compound. Now this has little tiny, it's almost like really fine sand. And what this does is this polishes all the tiny little scuffs that we put into it with the 2000 grit. And it's going to smooth it all out to make it look clear again. So we're going to get this on here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to polish this. I'm going to keep going until almost all this is gone. It kind of wears off. And then we're going to move to the finishing cut and get it to another step of cleanliness. Now you can see it's a little foggy. We're going to do the finishing cut. We're going to put it on our rag or our buffer. And we're going to buff it out and it's going to look like new when we're done. Alright, so we got the finishing cut done. So we're going to wipe this down. And you can see that it looks like new again. And all it took was about 20 minutes of work and about 15-20 bucks worth of stuff. So what you can do is make your car look a lot better by doing that. Look at that. They look great. Alright you guys, so remember 600 or 800, but 600 seems to cut a little bit of the crap off a little bit easier. So 600, then 1,000, then 2,000. That stuff's like $3 for all the stuff, maybe $5. Go to AutoZone, they'll have everything that you need pretty much. And you can get a smaller thing of the extra cut and a small thing of the finishing cut if you wanted. This stuff still isn't even very expensive, but if you get jugs like this, you can use these for years. So with that, you guys, thank you for watching. You guys don't have to like or subscribe. I just want you to fix your shit. So go out there and fix it. All right? See ya!